Hey guys, today I want to talk about the Witches Sabbath and my experience with the Witches Sabbath. Usually around 3 a.m. in the morning, which I've always said is the witching hour, is when I wake up or when I go into deep sleep. And when that happens, and I believe this happens to other people, they go into an altered state of mind. Now, this is totally subjective, um, but nonetheless, there's something that's happening when this happens. And when this does happen, you go into altered states of consciousness. And sometimes you go to portals. So, what is a portal? A portal is an entry point from one frame of reference or one reality into another reality. Now, of course, this is all subjective. This is nothing that I'm trying to prove to you that is true, and it's not something that I would even say is up to debate. It is something that you have to experience yourself. So, every now and then, I do enter an altered state of consciousness where I feel like I go to a portal, end up somewhere else. And I remember one time, and I told part of the story before, I found myself at a ritual. I believe it was a ritual. It was something similar to a ritual. And I saw the Green Witch. And when I say a Green Witch, I mean the stereotypical witch that you would see around Halloween. You know, the kind that a lot of witches say, so we're not green and we don't have, long noses and we're ugly. Well, the one I saw wasn't necessarily ugly, but was very fierce looking. And you always get like almost like a fear from being around this person or entity or whatnot. Not fear that she's evil or whatnot, but almost like you're in the presence of something very, very powerful. So maybe fear isn't the right word. And I don't think I really had any interactions with her. It was just being in her presence. And it really gave me the insight that there's a lot more to witchcraft than what you read in books. There's a lot more to witchcraft than what we experience in this realm. And I think that's why a lot of witches are so keen on going into the Witches Sabbath. So what is the Witches Sabbath? Traditionally, some people said that they would take certain herbs that would give them an altered state of consciousness, and they would go from this realm to another realm. Some people say that the Witches Sabbath was something real in this world. I tend to agree with both, but this, how can I say it? This pursuit or this going from one place to another place is very shamanistic, and it's very, how can I say, it's very mind-boggling when it does happen. I remember once when I told part of this story also in another YouTube video where I entered into another frame of reality, and I was in my old house and there were people around me that I knew, and it was like I was in the alternative universe. That's the best way to put it. Now, get it. This is also very subjective. You know, as I said before, I'm not trying to convince anybody or whatnot. But regardless if it happened or it didn't happen, this is something that really should be studied by scientists and really should be examined. People who have these experiences aren't crazy. They aren't on drugs. I do not use drugs, by the way. I might have an occasional drink, but I don't use drugs. And might as well say that I'm not a drinker because I so rarely take a drink. But that's another story altogether. But this idea of going to a portal, going to another frame of reality is something that is subjective, but it is something when you are experiencing it is very, very real. And it is something that I like to do whenever I'm able to do it. I'm no expert at this. A lot of times it happens by accident, but it usually happens around 3 a.m. in the morning. And I remember once when I came out of the portal, it felt like a jarring, you know. It felt like I slammed back into my body, and I woke up kind of like, what the hell just happened, you know? And it could really really confuse you at first when this type of thing happens. I remember once when I went into I believe it was a portal or something. It was almost like someone slowly cut the lights off, and then I was somewhere else. I remember once when the portal was actually my window, and I flew outside my window, and that was very fun. And just the fact that you can have the sensation of flying in space, because I found myself in space, that is something extremely mind-boggling. And I'm not lying here either. This is like I said, it's subjective, but it feels real when it's happening. When people say, "Oh, you're a witch," and witchcraft isn't real. If you're a witch, let me see you fly. Well, if you practice astral projection, if you are interested in going to different realms, you can fly. You can do all the things you want to do that you can't do in the physical world. And I don't see a lot of books written on this. This is something that I discovered myself. And like I said, when this does happen, it's usually during the witching hour, which is 3 a.m. in the morning, not midnight. Midnight could be a witching hour if that's what you're attuned to, but here in America, where I'm from, it seems like the darkest time, well, not the darkest, the most quiet time in the evening is around 3 a.m. That's when the most people are asleep or relaxing, or they're not doing everyday things at 3 a.m. in the morning. Usually people have to go to work or whatever. They're resting, in other words. But this idea of going to the Witches Sabbath, I only did it once from an astral point of view. Once that I remember, I'll put it that way. And like I said, when I did meet the Green Witch, it was very, very powerful. And she was not like what you see during Halloween time. Even though I kind of described her as being green, she felt powerful. She didn't feel weak. It wasn't the Green Witch who doesn't have teeth in her mouth and is very old and fragile. I'm talking about something that is very powerful, something that you don't mess with. And she didn't say anything to me. I just kind of looked at her, and I believe she looked at me. This happened a couple of years ago, and like I said, I just felt like I was in the presence of something very, very powerful. And I haven't had that experience since, but I do crave it, and I do want to have that again, because like I said, these type of things are not necessarily written in books. If they are, I just haven't read them yet. But this is a very powerful event that can happen. Also, another thing that is discussed a little bit in books, and that is doing rituals when you're in the dreamscape, or when you're in another frame of mind or another reality. Everything gets magnified. definitely magnifies. So when you do a ritual and you call the quarters, you're really calling the forces of nature. You can feel things change. Sorry, my computer's starting to go to sleep. But anyway, you can really feel the elements of earth, air, fire, and water and spirit when you call upon them in the dreamscape. Um, that is not to say that that doesn't happen in the physical world. There's been times where I've done rituals and people have said that the temperature of the room has changed. One guy told me that I grew black wings. I wish I could have seen that. He was not lying either, you know. So he just said that I grew black wings. So, like I said, you know, next time, you know, this would be one time you can take your cell phone out and take a picture. No, I'm just joking. But yeah, if you do have the ability to do this to astral project or to lucid dream, because a lot of this has to do with lucid dreaming also, I would say pick up on it and practice it and do it if you can. Try to enter the Witches Sabbath. One of the things that I've learned about Rosaline Norton, the Witch of King's Cross, is that's one of the things that she was doing. She was, you know, attending the Witches Sabbath. She was going to altered states of consciousness and dealing with beings from another dimension. Again, this is subjective. I'm not telling you what to believe or whatnot. This is subjective. But it's interesting. Rather, if it's true or not, it is very interesting, and this is something that should be studied through modern science. And I'm pretty sure they are studying this to a certain degree. There are people who are studying shamanism because a lot of this is tied into that too. And I remember someone told me years ago that I should look into shamanism more than what I am. So maybe this is sort of like a wake-up call for me. But yeah, if you're that type of witch, if you're someone who has the ability to astral project or has the ability to lucid dream, I would say that this is something that you should pick up on and try yourself. It will absolutely blow your mind. And the reason why I say it will blow your mind is because when you're in that altered state of consciousness, and sometimes you don't know you're in that altered state of consciousness, you can do anything. Now, it's really fun when you wake up and you're in your dream. That is just absolutely mind-blowing, even more mind-blowing, because then you can experiment. Then you know that you're actually having a dream. You know that you're actually having a psychic experience or whatever, and you can see what you can do. Can you fly? Can you do things that superheroes can do? In other words, and I tell you, you can. You just have to know how to master it. All right, so that is my experience with the Green Witch and with the Witches Sabbath. I don't remember everything that happened, but I do remember meeting the Green Witch, and she was very powerful. I probably shouldn't use the word frightening, but I'll put it this way: when you get in touch with her, or if you're in her presence, you feel nothing but humility. You feel nothing but awe. Awe is a better word than frightening. Awe, you know. It's sort of like if you're in a spaceship and all of a sudden you come upon a event horizon or something like that, something, or a black hole, or you know, something that is so powerful, so immense that is just, you're in a state of awe, and that is that's the feeling I got when I met her. And after I met her, or after I had that experience, I woke up. So I don't know if there was anything else that happened afterwards. All I remember is waking up after the fact, you know. But as I said before, if you have these experiences, or if you're able to have these experiences, or you want to have this experience, definitely check into it. There's one book that's out, and it's called Lucid Dreaming. I can't remember the author's name right offhand, but if you do a Google search or do a search on Amazon, you should be able to find it. It's called Lucid Dreaming, and I believe he has like 2 or 3 other books that are similar to his first book, and that was the first book I bought on lucid dreaming. All right, so that is my experience with lucid dreaming and portals and the Green Witch. Until next time, God bless Allah, peace, Ankh Jasaneb, and I'll see you on the other side.